to talk to us. Take us through what we've witnessed today. We've seen some alarming scenes. We've seen big palls of smoke billowing out from this nuclear power plant.
Yes, or indeed steam. And again, it's not quite clear yet exactly what was inside that cloud. And that's really the key issue as to how much radiation was released during this explosion. Now, if we go back to the beginning, there was, of course, trip of the reactor, which shuts down the main nuclear reaction that goes on, and that occurred as it was supposed to occur. There is then residual heat in the reactor, and there's another sort of nuclear reaction that goes on, and it generates heat slowly, which decays away with time. And you've got to keep the pumps going to remove the so-called decay heat.
And of course power was knocked out.
Well, initially, for the first hour, and that might actually have been very crucial, that worked very well. But then the generators stopped and they had to go to battery power. And it's not clear to me how long the circulation then kept going. But this decay heat, the key word there is decay, which means over a period of time, the issue decays away. The amount of heat generated decays away. Now, it looks like it didn't decay away quite fast enough for it to prevent a build-up of pressure. And there was certainly a lot of talk about releasing the pressure, and that involves releasing steam. Now, of course, also the containment area around would have been damaged, and it could be that during this release of the steam that actually this caused that great cloud. And
with what we're looking at now, so
That's
this could be pretty harmless. It could be a mere release of energy from the reactor building, and that could just...
It could be, but we don't really know. So the crucial issue is the monitoring of the radiation levels. Now, generally speaking, we talk about monitoring them with respect to the background radiation. And you remember, background radiation is incredibly low levels. So even if you have increases of 10 or 20 or 30% to the background, that's still not going to cause any form of issue for people. It's when you go to many hundreds of thousands of times background, that's when we know that something as bad has happened to the inner core of the reactor.
We're talking about meltdown. Meltdown is a word that's been used quite a lot
That's
all
right.
morning. What does that actually mean?
So a meltdown, so you've got the containment vessel of the reactor itself. So this is a steel structure inside, and this is the core of the reactor, inside which is all the fuel. That's a very thick piece of steel indeed. You know, it's a very thick piece of steel. And generally speaking, so for example in 3 Mile Island incident, that was not breached. So most, in fact nearly all of the radiation was contained within the pressure vessel. What we're seeing on the explosion is the outer structure, the concrete structure. And as long as the inner core is not hurt, not destroyed, then most of the radiation will be fine inside, contained.
We're going to hear a lot more about this all morning, of course, here at BBC World News. Professor Grimes, thank you so much indeed for taking us through an explanation as to what possibly has gone on in the northeastern part of Japan today.